Oh. Oh, hey there. How are you doing? Today I will not show you how to play a song. I will talk about scales with you, about the concept of scales and using them on your guitar. On my last music theory video, where the video called Tips and Tricks Learning to Play Indie Guitar, I received a few comments asking me to explain scales for a bit, and I was very happy to see that some of you were excited to learn some things about them, so that's why I made this video. I will talk about scales. First I will talk about the concept of it, because I think that's the most important thing of scales, to understand what it really means, to understand what a scale really means. Then I will also talk about practical use, so using it in songs. I will focus around two scales really, the major and minor scale, because one of them is used a lot in indie music, so that's why, and the other one you really need to know to know the basics of scales, so that's why I'm also showing you that one. It's really the basic scale that you need to know. Yeah, so first of all, why do you need to know scales? I think there are a few reasons in general, but some that are very particular for indie music. One of them is to play sheet music, so music on a sheet. I personally don't think that's the best use of scales, because I've never needed to use it really to play sheet music, to know scales to play sheet music. But it is, if you need to play sheet music, it's very useful to know scales, otherwise you can't. But I think the two most important things about knowing scales is that, first of all, it's very useful to create music, so to make a solo, to improvise, to create a chord progression as well, because it's very useful to know scales to know more about chords. So I think those are the two really most important things about scales, that you can get creative with them and use them for your own songs, and also use them to figure out songs, because if you know a scale, it's more easier to figure out a song because you know what notes you can expect in that scale. So I think those are the two most important things to know. Now, first of all, this video, for some of you that have never learned about scales, this is useful, and for some of you that already know a bit about scales, it can be useful as a reminder or a different point of view on scales. So I hope it's useful for all of you that are watching. So yeah, I will try to explain the concept of scales to you with the help of the C chromatic scale. The C chromatic scale is really a scale from C to C, as you can see in the picture, with all the notes in between. So it's really 13 notes, I think. Those are really all the notes available to us when making music in general. So these 13 notes, what a scale really does is a scale picks out a few notes of all the notes available. So the major scale picks out a few notes, and the minor scale picks out a few notes, and they pick these notes out in a certain pattern. So yeah, there's some sort of pattern that makes a scale. So a major scale picks notes out in a certain pattern, and a minor scale picks out a few notes of all the notes available in a certain pattern. And most of the time when we're talking about scales, we're talking about full steps and half steps. What I mean by that is a full step is really two half steps, and a half step is from one note to the next one. So when you're having this picture I'm showing you now, from C to C sharp is a half step, and from C to D is a full step, because you leave a half step out. And then from E to F is also a half step, and from B to C is a half step. There's nothing in between those notes, so that's why it's a half step between the B and the C. Now these patterns that I just taught you, these scale patterns, I will tell them to you. The major pattern of picking out notes really is full step, half step, full step, full step, half step. And you might think, okay, what are you talking about? But I will show you what I mean. I'm showing the picture again now, I hope. When we're wanting to play the C major scale, for example, we're using this pattern that I just taught you to figure out the scale. So talking about the C major scale, we start from C, then, as I said, a full step, which goes from C to D, then again a full step, which goes from D to E, then a half step, which goes from E to F, then a full step again from F to G, then again a full step from G to A, then again a full step from A to B, and then a half step again from B to C. That's really the thing. And The nice thing about this pattern is that you can also use this pattern for different notes. So when you want to know the D major scale, you simply do the exact same pattern, but you start from the D major, from the D note. So when we're starting from the D, it's D, then a full step going to the E, then again a full step going to the F sharp, then a half step going from F sharp to G, then a full step from G to A, again a full step from A to B, then again a full step from B to C sharp, you leave the C in between, and then again a half step from C sharp to D. And that's really how it works. This is pattern that you use for every single note. And the way the minor scale is different from the C major is that the pattern is a bit different. So instead of 1 1 4 4 half 4 4 4 half, it's 4 half 4 4 half 4 4 step. So that's the thing about scales. It's just a pattern used, and a nice thing is that you can apply it for every single note. So I definitely recommend you to try that. We just tried it with the D, but try it with a E, for example, the E scale. Use this pattern and then try to figure out if you got it right by looking up the scale online. That's the major scale pattern that I just taught you. The minor scale also uses a pattern. Every scale uses a pattern. Major and minor are mostly used. The minor scale pattern is full step, half step, full step, full step, half step, full step, full step. We will apply that to the A minor scale. From A to B is a full step, then from B to C is a half step again, from C to D is a full step, from D to E is a full step again, from E to F is a half step, from F to G a full step, and from G to A from G back to the A is a full step again. So that's how the scale works. I hope that's a bit clear. So a scale really picks out a few notes of all the notes available in a certain order. And the steps I just taught you is that order. So I should also note that the C sharp, for example, is the same as the D flat. So, and the F sharp is the same as the G flat. It's not really the same. It sounds exactly the same when you're playing a C sharp on your guitar. It's the same as a D flat. There's some little difference, but it's only in speaking about the notes and not in the sound. So you don't have to worry about that now, I think. Just leave that as it is. So a C sharp is the same as a D flat, and a D sharp is the same as an E flat. It's really like D sharp is D a little bit higher, E flat is E a little bit lower, but those are the exact same notes. So that's something to remind as well. So now you might think, okay, Jens, nice, I know the concept of scales, but what do I do with them? How do I use this for my guitar? Because with this information you can't do that much yet on your guitar, but I will show you that as well, otherwise it would be mean. First of all, this pattern that I'm talking about the whole time is also shown on your guitar. This pattern is really transitioned to your guitar. So the major scale pattern is translated to your guitar, and also the minor scale pattern is translated to your guitar. So now we talked about the concept of scales, and now I would like to dig in deeper on using it. The nice thing is that these scales, these patterns are already transitioned to your guitar really. A lot of people came up with the finger positionings for scales, so that's very nice. We don't have to figure out each note by ourselves. There's a few patterns also on your guitar that you can use. I will use it on C major since that's the most easiest one to learn. I will show it to you now. I think it's called the fingering type 1. I'll get more into that. And you can also use. So this is the major scale fingering type 1, I think it's called. And you can use this for every note. So this pattern that I just showed you is the major pattern, and you can see that because when we will follow the steps of the scale, it's C to the D is a full step. You leave out the C sharp. Then to the E from the D is a full step. Then from the E to the F is a half step, then from F to G is a full step, then from G to A is a full step, then from A to B is a full step, and then from B to C is a half step. And you can also see it on your frets. It's really nice because a half step is just one fret up and a full step is a 2 frets up really. And you repeat the scale from C, and then a full step to D, then a full step again from D to E, then from E to F a half step, then from F to G a full step, and then from G to A full step. And then you can go back, but you can also go to the B over here, from A to B a full step, and then from B to C a half step. So as you can see, this whole pattern is transition to your guitar. And the way to learn this pattern is just something that you need to learn from the top of your head. Just play it a few times, a lot of times, so you can remember it. And the nice thing about knowing this scale, this finger positioning, is that you can use it for every single major scale. So now we use it for C, but you can also just use it for D. So it's easy as that. Now, if you only know this finger type, you can play every major scale by just changing your starting finger. So now you're starting with the C. When you want to do the G, you can just start at the G over here, which is nice because now you can play a scale and you can use it for every single note, a major scale. That is the major scale. I hope that's a bit clear how to use them. Practice it a lot of times from the top of your head, or first with reading the notes. And it's most important to remember what you're doing, not only playing this, getting quick at it, but also understanding that you're playing a C and then a D and then an E. That gives you also, then you will also learn where all the notes are on the guitar. So that's the major scale transition to the guitar. Now I will show you the minor scale and also the pentatonic minor, but first I will show you the minor scale. Oh, and by the way, there are also lots of other finger positioning starting from a different fret. For example, now you're starting over here with the C, but you can also start over here. But that's a whole different finger positioning. It will take too much time to go through all the possible finger positioning types, scales, but this one, I think. But I think this one is one of the most easiest to understand the concept. I'm sure you'll find other ones online, other finger positionings online for scales. Now I will show you the scale, the finger positioning of the minor scale, and I will use it for the A minor first because that one is the easiest. That's the A minor scale. And this pattern of the minor scale, you also hear it in this transition to the guitar. It's one step from A to B, then from B to C a half step, then from C to D a full step, then from D to E a full step again, then from E to F a half step, then from F to G a full step, then from G to A full step again, and then again from A to B a full step, from B to C a half step, from C to D a full step, from D to E a full step, from E to F a half step, from F to G a full step, from G to A full step, from A to B a full step, and from B to C a half step. And that's the minor scale on your guitar. There's also different places to play this one, but I think this is the easiest one to know at the beginning. Then the minor pentatonic scale is even more used than the minor scale, and these two are different from each other. That the pentatonic scale uses these notes of the minor scale, but only 5 of them, hence the name pentatonic. So it's basically the same as the minor scale, only 5 notes, only using 5 notes and not all of the notes. So for minor, the pentatonic scale is this. As you can see, it skips a few notes, most of the half ones. And this pentatonic scale is used a lot, but like really a lot. In blues it's used, but also a lot in indie music. It's a very approachable scale, you can use it for lots of songs. And also with the minor scale, as the same as the major, when you know how to play the minor scale for the A, you can also use this exact pattern for the B minor scale, for example. That's very useful to know. So when you know this positioning, you can use it for every single note that you like that's available to you on the guitar. So when you want to do a C minor scale, use the exact same pattern, exact same finger positioning, but only over here. And this shows that the pattern for the notes chosen is fixed, but you can use it everywhere. You might have noticed that the notes for the C major and the A minor are exactly the same. That's true, definitely true. A minor is the relative minor of C major, and that means that both the scales, so the scale C major and A minor, contains the same notes. The only difference is the root note. So of course the root note, the bass note you could call it, for C is C, and for A minor it's A. But for the rest of it, it's totally the same note. So you could, if a song is played in A minor, you could maybe play a C major scale over it, because it contains the same notes. It's a bit trickier because you have to focus a bit different on the scale, but it's definitely possible. But what happens more is that when a song is, for example, in C major, that the solo is played in A minor. There are a few reasons for that. One of them is that the A minor scale is a little bit more approachable than the C major scale. I think when you want to solo, it's a bit easier. And also the A minor scale is easier, I think, or the minor pentatonic scale, I should call it, is a bit easier to make a bit bluesy, make a bit more powerful, I think. It's easier to bend on that scale. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say about the scales. I hope so much that it's a bit clear what I'm trying to tell you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, definitely. I might make a video, if you would enjoy that, about chords. So because these scales are so important to understand chords, I could also talk in the next video about the concept of chords, how it really works, what a chord consists of, what a jazz chord consists of, how they are made up and all that. Definitely let me know if you would like that. If not, that's totally fine as well. I will just upload a song lesson, of course, as usual. Yeah, but that's what I wanted to tell about the chords. Please let me know if everything was clear. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I could teach you something, and I also hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.